In relationships, silence is usually treated as something harmless, even mature. But there is a specific kind of silence that isn't peaceful at all. It's calculated, emotional, and quietly aggressive. Not saying anything while making sure the other person feels everything. This is passive-aggressive silence, and psychologically, it is one of the most common shadow behaviors in close relationships. It usually doesn't start as manipulation. It starts with something simple: feeling hurt, but not feeling safe enough to speak. So instead of saying, "That bothered me," the person withdraws. No replies, short answers, emotional distance. On the surface, nothing is happening. But internally, something very active is taking place. A silent form of emotional punishment. Psychologists often connect this behavior to what Carl Jung called the shadow self. The shadow is the part of us that holds emotions we don't want to express directly: anger, jealousy, resentment, fear of rejection. When these emotions are not processed consciously, they don't disappear. They leak out, and silence becomes the safest outlet. Because silence cannot be easily confronted, but it can be deeply felt. In modern relationships, this behavior has become even more common. Not because people are more toxic, but because they are less emotionally direct. Many people were never taught how to express anger without risking abandonment. So instead of saying, "I didn't like what you did," they switched to something safer: "I'm fine." But the tone says everything except fine. And here is the psychological trap. The person using passive-aggressive silence often believes they are avoiding conflict. But the other person experiences something very different: confusion, anxiety, self-doubt. They start replaying conversations in their head. What did I do wrong? Are they mad at me? Should I fix something? I don't even understand. The silence has already done its work, without a single word spoken. From a neuroscience perspective, uncertain social rejection activates the brain's threat system more intensely than direct rejection. That means being ignored without explanation can feel worse than being told, "I'm upset with you." Because the brain prefers clarity, even if it hurts. Silence denies that clarity, so the mind fills the gap with worst-case scenarios. But here's where shadow psychology gets deeper. Passive-aggressive silence is not always about the other person. Sometimes it is about reclaiming emotional power. When someone feels unseen, ignored, or powerless in a relationship, silence becomes the only way they feel in control again. It is not logic, it is emotional compensation. A quiet attempt to say, "You don't get access to me right now." But this creates a cycle, because the more one person withdraws, the more the other person anxiously pursues. And the more they pursue, the more the silent partner retreats. Distance increases on both sides, without a single direct conversation happening. Two people emotionally reacting instead of emotionally communicating. The deeper issue is not silence itself, it is emotional repression. When anger is not allowed to exist openly in a relationship, it does not disappear. It transforms into withdrawal, coldness, delayed responses, and emotional ambiguity. The person who goes silent is not always cruel, and the person who suffers the silence is not always innocent. Both are operating from the same wound, just from opposite sides of it. And here is the most important psychological insight. People who use silence as a weapon are often not trying to hurt others consciously. They are trying to regulate emotions they were never taught to express. And people who suffer from it are often not being targeted intentionally. They are being forced to interpret emotional signals that were never clearly spoken. So the real conflict is not between two people. It is between expressed emotion and unexpressed emotion, between what is said and what is felt but hidden. And so the silence continues, not because nothing is being felt, but because everything is. and neither person has learned how to survive the sound of their own truth spoken out loud.